Hello everyone. Welcome to Brilliant Bankers. Today we are going for a new topic, FEMA 1999, Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999. So before we go into a act, it is one of a crucial aspect of financial regulation. This act will be very good. Getting a basic idea on this act will be very good if you are a business owner, an investor, or just a curious about the world of finance. This act was enacted in the year 1999 to facilitate external trade and payments, as well as to promote orderly development and maintenance of foreign exchange markets in India. This act plays a pivotal role in managing the movement of foreign exchange and ensuring financial stability in our country. But before we dive into this FEMA 99, we should know there was an other act. It is FERA 1973, the Regulation Act, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act of 1973. So then why do you need a new act if you already had an existing one? So no, let's know something about FERA 1973. When the act was introduced in 1973, the Indian economy was suffering from an all-time low in foreign exchange reserves. To build these reserves back, the government took into a stance that all the forex earned by the Indian residents living within India or abroad, living within India or abroad, belonged to the government of India and had to be surrendered to the Reserve Bank of India. I think you get it. It had to be surrendered to the Reserve Bank of India. FERA thus severely regulated all forex transactions that had a direct or indirect impact on India's forex reserves, which included the import or the export of currency. However, the objective of FERA did not have a effect that was envisioned, and the Indian economy continued to plummet. Hence, it was replaced by FEMA in 1999. FERA was promulgated to regulate payments and foreign exchange in India. But on the contrary, FEMA was was for an orderly management of foreign exchange. So that's a small change in both the act. Other than that, FERA was conceived with the notion that foreign exchange is a scarce resource. But as per FEMA, the foreign exchange was an asset. The new act says foreign forex is an asset. FERA rules regulated foreign payments. FEMA focused on increasing the foreign exchange reserves, on prompting foreign payments and foreign trade. So when you have a trade, your reserves automatically increase. That is what this is the small difference between FEMA and FERA. In the case of FEMA, for external trade and remittances, there was no prior approval needed from the Reserve Bank of India. In the case of FEMA, but what was it in the case of FERA? If there was a need of transferring of funds for external operations, then prior approval was to be taken from RBI. In case of FERA, the violation of the act was counted under criminal offense. But in FEMA, it is a civil offense. So these were the reasons why a new act was to be promulgated. And now let's jump into the Act Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999. So what was the objective of Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999? FEMA 1999. To facilitate external trade and payments, to promote the orderly development and maintenance of foreign exchange. What is forex or foreign exchange? We have been saying this word for the last 2 minutes or something. What is the meaning of that? It is a conversion of one country's currency into another. That is conversion of Indian rupee to dollar or a euro or a yen, a franc, whatever it may be. And when do you need to convert this? Whenever you are doing a trade, when you are on tour to different countries, and to reduce the geopolitical risk, we do have a reserve of that foreign exchange. For example, what is the condition of the Russian ruble nowadays due to the war with Ukraine? It has plummeted down. And which is the biggest currency staying high? It's dollars. And what about rupee? It's gaining worth all over the international market. So that's the difference, and how you increase the value of your money. So it is a conversion of country's currency into another. Let's go into FERA once again. Foreign exchange transactions were regulated by Foreign Exchange Regulation Act FERA in 1973. Following the liberalization assured in 1991, some amendments were made to FERA in 1993. There was a lot of demand to bring major changes in FERA. In the light of economic changes that took place, consequently, a new act was formed to replace FERA, which was called as the Management Act 1999. Section 3 of the Act, it talks about dealings in foreign exchange and foreign securities and payments to and receipts from any persons outside India. The general or special permission of the RBI is required in the following matters: dealing in any foreign exchange or foreign security with any person other than an authorized person. So, who is an authorized person? Authorized person, a person given the license by RBI to deal with foreign exchange matters. For example, the banks have been licensed, few NBFCs have been licensed by the RBI. These are the only person who can transact foreign exchange and no one else. Payment to or for the credit of any person who is resident outside India in any manner. Receiving of any payment by order or on behalf of any person resident outside India. So, getting a money from a person who is resident outside India. That is taking the case of Kerala. What do you say? You see a good financial background in Kerala. The reason is a lot of people, a lot of individuals work in the Gulf countries and they do have a foreign exchange input, a lot of foreign exchange input. The money from Gulf, the dinars and reals are flowing into India. This is what is being mentioned here. Or enter into any financial transaction in India as a consideration or for in association with requisition of creation or transfer of a right to acquire any asset outside India. If you want to purchase any asset outside India, for example, people would love to fly over to the tax havens like Dubai and buy a asset over there. But how are you going to buy it with the money you earned in India? So that is what is mentioned. Holding of foreigns. Can you hold some foreign exchange in your hands? This is it. No person resident in India shall acquire, hold, own, possess, or transfer any foreign exchange or security or any immovable property situated outside India. I think you get it, right? Outside India. What is a current account transaction? Act permits dealing in foreign exchange through authorized persons for current account transactions. Central government can impose reasonable restrictions in public interest with this. So, in foreign exchange, there are two types of transactions. One is a capital account transaction, and the other is a current account transaction. I just said up something about current account transaction. We'll come deeper into it. Now, what is a capital account transaction? This is the definition as mentioned in the Act, in Section 3 of the Act. Any person may sell or draw foreign exchange to or from an authorized person within the mentioned limit as specified for a capital account transaction permitted by RBI in consultation with the central government. So, what is capital? For the purchase or investment, that is what is called capital. For person who are resident in India, these are the capital account transactions. Investment by a person resident in India in foreign securities. When you want to invest in foreign securities, foreign currency loans raised in India and abroad by a person resident in India. A person in India doing some kind of business in abroad and raising a loan in the foreign currency. When he is selling his property outside India, guarantees issued by a person in favor of a person resident outside India. Everything is for a person who is resident in India. Just think, I am a resident over in India, and if I am investing abroad any money for the purchase of property or any income received from the sale of transfer of property, if I am taking any foreign currency loans from any banks for any business purposes, if I am giving any guarantee to a person who is resident outside India, any loans and overdraft from a person resident outside India, maintenance of foreign currency accounts in India and outside India. So these are the things. You can take a screenshot of this. You will get one more slide for a person who are resident outside India. And what is this? Who are a person who are resident outside India, the non-resident Indians. Investment in India by a person who is resident outside India, that is to say, issue security by a body corporate or an entity in India, and investment therein by a person resident outside India. When you start reading that, you get confused. So the exact wordings of the act has been placed over here. There is issue of body corporate or an entity when he buys some shares of a country. Sorry, not a country, of a company. Investment by way of contribution by a person resident outside India to a capital of a firm. This is what I mentioned. Acquisition and transfer of immovable property in India by a person resident outside India. Guarantee by a person resident outside India in favor of a person resident in India. Again, the opposite of this. Someone outside India giving a guarantee for a person who is in India and he's taking a loan. Is that allowed? That has been regulated under capital account transaction. Foreign currency accounts in India or of a person who is residing outside India. There are a few prohibitions as per the capital account transactions. No person shall undertake or sell or draw foreign exchange to or from an authorized person for any capital account transaction with a condition not more than a limit of US dollars 250,000 per financial year. That is 2 lakh 50,000 per financial year, or if there is any changes by RBI, that can be done. So the maximum amount that can be drawn or solved by an individual who is a resident Indian or a resident individual is 2,50,000 US dollars in a financial year. Further, no part of the forex shall be used for remittance directly or indirectly to notified countries. No part of the foreign exchange shall be used for remittances directly or indirectly to countries that are notified as non-cooperative countries and terrorists by FATF from time to time and communicated by RBI. RBI in their notifications regularly updates the name of these countries. For example, you can transfer any amount to Bangladesh or Pakistan without the permission of the Reserve Bank of India. Again, no person resident outside India shall make investments in India. In the case of the business chit funds, in Nidhi companies, in financial investments, right? He can't do any agriculture or plantation business here. He can't go for real estate businesses and in trading of transferable development rights. So a person who is a resident outside India shall not make any investment in India in all these things. Now coming to current account transaction, which I had briefly started off. As per Rule 5 of the Foreign Exchange Management Act, there was a small amendment in current account transaction rules in 2015. Every drawal of foreign exchange for transactions included in Schedule 3 shall be governed as provided therein. Again, the same limit of rupees 2,50,000 has been mentioned here. Any additional remittances, this is the current account and this is not a capital account. Where in current account you go for the regular normal transactions. In capital account, you're going to invest, you're going to buy something. So there's the small difference between the current account and capital account. In current account, you are continuously doing some transactions. Again, in current account, the limitation is $2,50,000 only. But you do have some concessions for this. This can be done. This can be held by a person who is visiting any other country except Nepal and Bhutan. So when you are going to Nepal or Bhutan, you can carry 2,50,000 US dollars. But to any other country, you can carry it. You can give as a gift or a donation a maximum amount of $2,50,000. If you're going abroad for employment, you can carry this same amount. I'm leaving that immigration. Maintenance of close relatives abroad. Yeah, they are. You do pay for them. For example, two brothers, they have their mother abroad, and one brother is staying in India. He's paying for the expenses, so he can pay up to an amount of $2,50,000 per year for the maintenance of his mother or any close relative, whoever may be. When he's traveling for any business or attending a conference, in that case, he can carry $2,50,000. When expenses in connection in medical is also being suspended. Okay, now coming to the immigration expenses in connection with medical treatment abroad and studies abroad. The limit of 2,50,000 US dollars has been eliminated. Here you can carry with the permission of RBI, because this is for the purpose of medical treatment. He is going to emigrate. He is going to stay over in the other country, and for studies. In this purpose, the limit for 2,50,000 has been eliminated. The remittance in for other than individual shall require prior permission from the RBI. Wise. Donations exceeding 1% of the foreign exchange earnings during the previous 3 financial year or US dollar 5 lakh, whichever is less. Commission per transaction to agents abroad for sale of residential flats or commercial plots in India exceeding US dollar 25,000 or 5% of the inward remittances, whichever is more. So these are to be paid by the people who are dealing in foreigns. You could take a screenshot again. If there is an export of goods services, every exporter of goods shall furnish to the RBI or to other authority the following: a declaration specified true and correct, amount representing the value of the full export of goods, the time of the export, the value which exporter have regard to the prevailing market conditions, and expects to receive on the sale of the goods in a market outside India. These are to be informed to RBI. The other informations that are to be mentioned are that may be required by RBI for the purpose of ensuring the realization of the export goods proceeds by such exporter. The exporter may say, "So this is what I'm going to get over there." But other information is required by RTI are every exporter of the services shall furnish to the RBI or to an other authority a declaration as specified containing the true and correct material particulars in relation to the payment for such services. Realization and repatriation of forex. What is realization and repatriation of forex? Once you do a business, you get your earnings in foreign exchange. That is realization, and bringing that money from there to back to India is called repatriation. Any person in this concern shall have to follow the reasonable steps to realize and repatriate it to India, with or within the time, in the manner prescribed by the Act, as said in the Act. If there is any contravention, then the penalties are: the defaulter is liable to pay up to thrice the amount involved, whatever the business was. The defaulter has to pay 3 times the amount when the amount is quantifiable, up to 2 rupees 2 lakh. When the amount is not quantifiable, if such a contraction happens, then rupees 5,000 for every day after the first day. Rupees 5,000 every day after the first day of the contravention of the Act. The administration of the Act, the rules, regulations, and norms pertaining to many sections are laid down by RBI in consultation with the central government. The Act requires the central government to appoint adjudicating authorities for holding enquiries related to the contravention of the Act. One or more special directors to hear appeals against the order of the adjudicating authorities. Central government shall have to establish an appellate tribunal for any inquiries of foreign exchange to hear the appeals against the orders of the adjudicating authorities and the special authorities. Like we have done a contravention, or I have done a contravention. I've been punished. So where will I appeal? I've been given a penalty. I do have the right to appeal. So it's the duty of the central government to create an appellate tribunal where a person can appeal for the contravention, he has been arrested. The Director of Enforcement with the director and such officers or class of officers as it thinks fit for taking up investigation and contravention under this act. Get it? An enforcement directorate was started after the FEMA Act. Any questions? Glad to answer you. You may message me on the comment section. Thank you. Do like, share, and subscribe and help us grow. We'll be coming back with a lot of videos where you can understand different aspects of all laws. This is Nishant signing off. Thank you.